Looking for a holiday dish that's worth its weight in gold, but only has about 5 ingredients? A golden-hued risotto flavored with vibrant saffron will do the trick. We're harvesting saffron right here in Vermont today, then headed to the kitchen to make a stunningly simple holiday meal. If you can boil water and stir with a spoon, you can make risotto. It's really a very simple, starchy dish. And yet, the finished product feels incredibly special, fragrant, lush, and creamy, worthy of the good china and the Christmas table. What's the secret? It's all about the right rice. Rice has 2 starches, amylose and amylopectin. The short-grain variety called arborio is what we use for risotto because it has a little amylose, that's the starch that helps liquids gel, and a lot of amylopectin. If you can't find arborio rice, use another short-grain variety, like sushi rice. You'll get a similar result. The small amount of amylose thickens the cooking liquid, while the larger quantity of amylopectin keeps the rice grains tender and toothy. Don't substitute medium or long-grain rice. They have too much amylose and not enough amylopectin. You'll end up with a dry, grainy dish that isn't creamy the way risotto should be. Beyond rice, you'll just need butter, an onion, a little white wine, chicken stock, and some Parmesan cheese. And of course, saffron, the splurge that makes our holiday risotto extra special. Before starting to cook, chop the onion in fine dice. You want them to disappear into the dish, so no big chunks. Then, bring the chicken stock to a simmer and add about half a teaspoon of saffron. We probably spent about $5 on rice, probably about $1.50 worth of Parmesan cheese, maybe $1 worth of butter, maybe $1 worth of wine. It's still a pretty low-cost dish considering that we're going to feed. It's a hearty meal this is going to serve about 4 people. So the saffron's worth it. I always want to know more about special ingredients. So to learn more about saffron, I headed to UVM's North American Center for Saffron Research and Development. Saffron is harvested from the cold, hardy, fall-blooming crocus. It's native to the mountains of Persia, but a few years ago, UVM Extension researcher Margaret Skinner had an idea. What if saffron could be grown in Vermont? You can't rush Mother Nature, and Margaret warned me that early November snows had the crocus still slumbering in their beds.
So there's many factors that influence what makes saffron bloom. And one of them is when it's too darn cold. Okay, this is the one darn bloom that we have.
Okay.
You ready?
All right.
There you go.
That's it. Precious cargo in hand, we went back inside to harvest the saffron. It's already opened up a little.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
There it is.
3 stigmas on a thread there, stamens and petals.
The red thread-like stigmas are the saffron, and they get plucked from the bloom, then dried.
So there's 3 compounds that are important to the quality of saffron. So there's crocine, and that's for the color.
Crocine gives the color.
Saffronol, which is for the smell.
Okay.
And the
the name.
picrocrocine, which is for the flavor.
Okay.
So
saffron's named for its aroma, not for its flavor.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you some saffron from last year, and you might say, well, I want this year's. And the reason you don't want this year's is because the general recommendation is that it takes time for whatever chemical processes to happen so that you get the maximum amount of crocine, saffronol, and picrocrocine.
It takes 70,000 hand-harvested blooms to produce 1 pound of saffron. Every thread is precious, commanding as much as $75 a gram, which is why Margaret thinks it could help Vermont farmers looking for a late fall crop that adds to their bottom line.
Saffron is the most adulterated spice in the world.
Yeah, because it's expensive.
When people say, well, hey, I can just go online and get it for, $5 a gram. Why can't I do that? And yeah, they can do
Get
that.
what you pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Potentially.
If it seems too good to be true,
It probably
oftentimes
is.
it is.
You get
I
the
left
two,
Margaret's
'cause you
with
may need
3
more.
grams of Vermont-grown saffron. What a gift. The smell of it infusing the chicken stock makes the kitchen feel warm and cozy. I'm ready to cook. We melt 2 tablespoons of butter, then toast the rice until it turns opaque white and the grains clicking against each other in the pan sound like beads. When the grains are toasted, the next we add our chopped onion. Best smell in the world. Onions starting to saute in butter. And we just want to stir those in until they start to be a little bit softened. A cup of white wine adds acidity to the risotto. And then we're going to keep adding stock ladle by ladle, cooking in between until the mixture has gone dry. And by dry, it's not dry. We're looking for that trail where now it's thickened to the point where we can see the bottom of the pan and it doesn't immediately flow back into liquid. So it's starting to thicken. You can see how the liquid is now becoming gelatinized. It's thickening. All those starches are starting to create that binding creamy texture that holds our risotto together. So we keep going. A little bit more stock, stir, stock, stir, stock, stir, until the rice is perfectly cooked, tender, and the sauce is creamy. Could saffron really become a viable Vermont crop? That is a great research question. According to Margaret, it all comes down to the corms, the hardy underground structures from which the crocus blooms, and how they respond to Vermont growing conditions.
When we started back in 2017, we believed wrongly that we're going to
Do a little weeding.
I know, I can't resist. We believed saffron would not survive outside in Vermont.
Test beds, however, proved them wrong. The crocus will grow, but surviving and thriving are different.
What we're seeing is that the yield is, there's one yield the first year.
Yeah.
And then it's going down a little bit every year, and we don't like that. It should be going up because we've got more corms, but they're just getting smaller. We believe that is linked with our shorter growing season.
Okay.
And so, and when we go in, I'll show you what the Pennsylvania corms look like. I'm so jealous. They have a longer growing season.
Yeah.
So their corms are so big.
Margaret's corms are an imported Dutch variety, but crocus have been grown by communities in Pennsylvania since the 18th century. Would those corms be more acclimated to Vermont?
So we have a collaborative project with Rodale Institute, and what they want to look at is, are there genetic differences between the Pennsylvania corms, which have been in the United States theoretically for 300 years, because they brought them over from Europe way back when. So we're working with scientists up on campus, Eric von Wetberg, to do some genetic testing of this. So we're growing them. We're looking at how many flowers they make, and then when they go dormant, we will dig up some of the corms to look at what the size of the corms are and how many secondary corms they make to see whether there's something different about these corms that make them
so
bigger.
much more robust.
Yes.
This year, Margaret's Dutch corms yielded a surprising uptick, 2,000 flowers, up from just about 300 in 2024. So, between genetics and seasonal trends, there's still much to learn. But in the kitchen, at least, I'm a believer. This Vermont saffron is really pretty amazing. It has this incredible aroma. This very vibrant color. The thing is it is still hard to find. Right now, you might find it in some farmers markets, depending on if there is a grower who is doing it in your area, but they have very small yields and small harvests, so it's pretty rare. If you find out that the current crop is sold out, get in touch, see if you can get on a wait list for when the next crop becomes available. It's worth waiting for. In the meantime, sure, use a different type of saffron. Saffron can be found in lots of different places now. Just be aware that, like Margaret was telling us, that saffron is going to be of varying levels of quality and maybe even authenticity, depending upon where it was grown, under what types of conditions. So trial and error. Buy some, look at it, cook with it, smell it, see what you think. If you can, find a really good high quality saffron, it's worth the investment. I want to stop cooking my risotto when I can see that it is thick, but it still has, it flows, right? It's not stodgy, it's not clumping together, and that's extra important because now I'm going to add some butter and some cheese to it, and both of those two things are also going to help bind it up. So we want to stop the cooking when it is cooked through, but still a little loose. If you need to add more stock in order to make it loose, go ahead and do that. We're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of butter and stir it right in. And then I have about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. Stir these two things in. All right. It's the dish that wants to go to the table piping hot. Wow. All those flavors. The saffron is floral. It has a little bit of like a bitter bay quality to it. And then it's punctuated from the wine, that beautiful, soft, tender rice. This is a really special dish. And think about it. What an amazing journey this saffron has taken, from the peaks of Iran to the flower fields of the Netherlands, across the seas with the Pennsylvania Dutch, and now, thanks to folks like Margaret, blooming right here in the Green Mountain State. It's practically a Christmas miracle. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.